Okay, welcome to the second episode of the Don't Quote Us show, and I'm Jeremy. I'm here as the main host, and
my name's Steve, and we are very happy to introduce Chad as a third colleague working with us. He's going to explain exactly who he is and what brought him here today.
Longtime friend of Jeremy. Background for me, 40-year-old tech. Been playing games pretty much all my life since original Nintendo. On through that, played probably every major system. Huge fan of RPGs, strategy games.
you will definitely be our RPG guy.
RPG go-to.
Oh,
right
I'm pretty sure I faded out on those after the Super NES, so...
and after he had a kid. That was the real role-playing game right there.
No, it was done way before then. I just lost patience. Then I had a kid and I had to regain patience.
Patience? It's absolutely great. I was about to say, you got to regain that patience and everything.
You do, no doubt. But
So what are we talking about today, Jeremy?
Well, today we're going to cover our top 5 movies of 2018. So it didn't have to come out in 2018. You just had to see it for the first time in 2018. And I'm going to start off with the first one for my list. I have a cheat sheet because I don't have any memory anymore. My first one I have on my list is Kingsman: The Golden Circle. It's an action comedy, and it's very much in the vein of something like Kick-Ass, if you've ever seen those. I believe the same director actually has the Kick-Ass movies. And I think, at least the first Kick-Ass, and I just think it's a great comedy action movie. I don't know, I know you've seen it. The Golden Circle, second one?
I did.
It is a sequel.
I have a feeling Chad has a different perspective.
I liked it, but it did not stand up to the first one. It was a pale comparison to the first movie, in my opinion.
I agree it wasn't as good. I agree 100% with it. It wasn't as good. And actually, the main actor doesn't want to come back for a third one. But they're doing a third one, so I don't know how that goes.
He doesn't want to come back? As far as I understood, they were doing a prequel.
Prequel.
Yeah, I know he's saying he might be in it in some respect, but he's not the main
Right,
actor.
but if they're doing a prequel, then he's not really coming back. I mean, that would just innately he wouldn't be in.
But he could time travel. It wouldn't be out of the realm of these movies.
Well, given how some of the stuff they did in the second one,
Yeah.
no, it would not be out of the realm.
Time travel, exactly. That's my guess.
All I know is that movie made me like John Denver, Take Me Home. You're telling me a Scottish guy singing that doesn't automatically just put a smile on your face
God.
like, yep,
Yeah.
you know what, if you're going to go out,
Oh my
that's how
God.
you should go out.
Yeah, oh.
Take me home and then landmine explode. Well, I thought that's exactly how that character should end.
So there are spoilers in these reviews, but if you haven't seen the movies yet, then too late. You know?
I'm pretty sure that movie's on Netflix, so if you haven't seen
Is it on
it,
Netflix? Okay.
I'm almost positive it's streaming right now in some way, shape, or form.
All right.
If not HBO
Should be
Go.
somewhere.
Yeah,
All right.
and spoilers. What are you gonna do? And it is what it is.
Yeah, it's
so.
hard to talk about a movie without spoiling anything. But all right, we'll go with you, Steve, for your first of the year. What was
Ooh, all right.
your cheat sheet?
I do have a cheat sheet. I went old school. I actually wrote mine down. So we're gonna go number 1. I don't think this is really crazy. Black Panther.
Yep, that's my number 2. So
Number two?
I'm number
Okay.
2. Are you
So-
on there with us?
I saw Black Panther. It is not actually in my top 5 though.
Wow. Okay.
All right. So reason why I thought it was when I'm watching this movie and everything, I'm like, I've done research. I'm a comic book fan and everything, but when it comes to B-list, I mean, even before, I don't know, I wouldn't consider him C-list, but when you said Black Panther, unless you were in the comic books, you had no idea who he was talking about. Like, Wakanda, what are we talking about? But I think it put Black Panther into a light now where he's Captain America, he's Thor, like, he's right up there.
Oh, yeah.
He's first tier.
But let's face it, all of the Avengers before the MCU really were B-list
I was gonna say that.
characters.
He took my thunder. Thunder guy.
You know what? Yeah. Thunder God over here. We got Chad
Thunder
rolling
God.
through.
You're stealing the thunder guy.
You are not wrong, because I won't. When Captain America, the first Avenger, came out, it was like, Captain America, oh. As I have my Captain America shield on, I
Sure.
mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is. By the way, Captain America is my favorite MCU character. I also have a shield as well that my sisters got me for Christmas.
Not to segue too much, but I heard he might not be done with the Marvel Universe yet, Chris Evans.
Bus shops.
they're
That's what
saying.
that's what I
hope
heard.
so too, but you know.
Well, he said that if he's going to do anything else acting wise, it's going to be Captain America.
That's awesome.
So I don't.
That's awesome.
I don't doubt that.
I hope so.
Chris Hemsworth has said that he would love to continue doing Thor.
Yep.
After number 3, yeah. After number 2, he was probably ready to be done
Of
doing
course.
Thor.
So of course,
Dark
I
World.
mean, as people were talking about for who we're expecting to see exit the MCU, in the next movie, that only leaves one of the big guys left.
How about that? First in, first out.
No,
I'm not going to say anything else, but if
Yeah.
you're picking up what I'm saying, if you're reading between the lines.
yeah.
Well, if that was my first and that was your second, Chad.
Actually, probably it's kind of a toss-up. It's for me, it's either Deadpool 2 or Avengers: Infinity War. I don't know which one I want to go with. Overall, the one I would probably watch it over and over again between those two, I'd have to go Deadpool 2 because it's just fun.
Well, it's got more replay. I agree with a lot of critics that say it wasn't as good as the first
course
one,
not.
but
Sophomore outings rarely are.
But it took a different direction than I thought it was gonna.
Yes.
It definitely took a different direction, but it was great. It was a great ride nonetheless. I had not seen the PG-13 one, though that's coming out in February already on Blu-ray, which is 2 months. I mean, that's, if it gets cheap enough, I'll pick it up just for the Fred Savage segments.
Yeah.
Oh, Fred Savage.
Oh, yeah. That Princess Bride setup for the second one, or the remake, or whatever they call
Let
it.
me,
Yeah.
not that we don't, that we can't linger or anything, but I'm going to throw this at you guys. I like Deadpool.
Okay.
I think it's overrated.
Whoa.
I know, bold statement, and here's the reason why. I'm watching the first one and I'm like, yeah, this is a good movie. I didn't want to rewatch it again. I'm like, okay, I saw it. I'm like, yep. Maybe it's because I see the superhero formula behind everything. You just go through it. Again, it's nothing you don't know. Introduce the character, bad stuff happens, they become a superhero, even worse stuff happens, they get knocked down to the nitty-gritty, and then they come back through and win it out. The humor was absolutely great. I mean, my only issue is now when I watch any Ryan Reynolds movie, I'm like, oh, I'm watching Deadpool now.
Oh.
And it's a rom-com. Nope, that's Deadpool right there. Like, I'm waiting for him to pop out.
So when you go, okay, so Detective Pikachu's coming out soon. He does the voice of Pikachu.
I'm listening to Deadpool.
Okay.
I'm waiting for somebody to take that movie and to redo all of the sections where Ryan Reynolds talks with lines from Deadpool. Because somebody's going to do it.
Yeah, somebody will.
Not wrong. And here, I like Deadpool the comics, I think, a lot more than the movies. Maybe not a lot more. And again, I said it was overrated. I wanted to be dramatic about it. I like the movies. I just don't think they're as good as what people say. Or and maybe it's because it's rated R. It's something fresh. But I mean, one of my other movies I really liked that was Logan. Love that movie.
Okay.
So I mean, maybe it wasn't the rated R aspect. I'm trying to really find my spot with Deadpool, but I mean, I love when Deadpool kills the MCU in the comics. I think that's absolutely great.
Now, I'll agree with you on Deadpool. And it's still one of my favorite movies. But overall, if you want to look at Deadpool, either one of the movies critically, they are, in fact, storyline shallow movies.
Yeah.
They're shallow villains. There's very little in the way of character development. They're not deep movies. It's watching it for the outlandish and outrageous comedy.
It's shock.
And that's
right.
That's
He's absolutely right.
That's the reasons why you go back and watch it. And you watch it again and again and again. And I'll admit, have I watched Deadpool 1 or Deadpool 2 through its entirety? No. I go on and I watch parts of it. Certain individual parts that just have me rolling on the floor.
Really?
Yes.
I've never seen you roll on the floor. So.
You've never seen him watch Deadpool then, apparently.
Well, I went to theater with him. He didn't get down in the
Well,
aisle.
it's all right. I'm exaggerating a little bit.
Don't quote us.
Don't quote us. Okay, yeah, don't quote him. All right. So that covers everybody's top pick. I did not have Deadpool 2 on the list. It was at one point, and as I was thinking about it, I kind of just,
I don't watch as many movies as you do.
That's true.
Touche.
That's true. So I already covered my number 2
Black Panther,
because of Black Panther. So what's your number 2?
Let's go back to the old list. Let me pull out my orange book. Okay. And I think this is really not going to make a lot of people happy. Don't really care. Solo, a Star Wars story.
Whoa. Ooh. I did not see it out of protest of The Last Jedi. I have strong feelings about that. I'll probably do a video one day about, after I see if I see episode 9, did they redeem it. But I just saw something today, just real quick. The Last Jedi was supposedly actually written before The Force Awakens was even finished.
You know
before they
what?
even wrote it. So
Maybe.
if that's the case, if that's actually
Maybe.
true, that was supposedly reported by or spoken out by a Lucasfilm person. That was written before that. If that's the case, it explains a lot with that movie. But
I don't
anyway.
disagree. So, not that we have to bring The Last Jedi into
Yeah.
it, which is also one of my favorite movies. Not on the list.
That we
Here's-
talk.
Here's the deal, guys. The story's got to go in one way. Because it did not go in the way you like, you're going to be, I'm going to start, butthurt. I'm sorry, it is what it is. I'm okay with Luke
butthurt?
going... It's a story. There's only going to be a movie about it, and guess I don't have director rights. Neither do you. We
No.
got to go with who is in place,
Okay,
right?
I don't want to go too far, but just tell me why Luke left a map for to where he was if he didn't want to be found.
I think... You know what? That's a very good question.
That's not
You're not
big
wrong.
problem.
And I don't think it was he didn't
No one's
necessarily
answered it.
want to be found. I think it was he didn't want to be found until they absolutely necessarily needed him to be found.
Okay, and then they needed him in The Last Jedi, and
They got him, didn't they? He
spoilers.
I mean, and by the way, on Netflix. If it's on Netflix, there's no. I'm sorry. That is what it is. It is what it is.
Save
Yeah.
2 hours of your time.
I think it's definitely worth it. Here's the deal. Mark Hamill might not have been happy about it. Was I initially happy about it? No, I don't. But you could see how, okay, his nephew, who he sunk
That's how we
time
do
in and
this.
everything to it, you could see why he could be a little bit jaded and be like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
out. I'm done. I'm over it.
We're gonna do a video on it because I want to
I'm
talk
good
to
with
you.
that.
and
I'm good.
I'm okay talking about it without
So
you know,
am I.
throwing any punches. So
I am not that hardcore about it because now I'm trying to talk about Solo.
Yeah.
Here's
Solo.
the deal.
All right. Yeah, I was jaded, so I protested, but
That's fine.
How was it?
I loved it, and here's the reason why.
Okay.
I go to movies because I want to be entertained. Now, I want to sit back and not have to. I just want it to happen and unfold. Solo to me was a heist movie, and guess what? They're not going to remake Smokey and the Bandit. Well, they better not, because there's no way to make that. So I like
I
heist
own that.
movies. I like when people are moving fast in cars, so on and so forth. And if it's not cars, spaceships, so on and so forth. I thought the actor did rather well as Han Solo, starting it off. They had a lot of good Easter eggs in there. Now, I'm not going to spoil this one, unless I already have. I hope not.
Yeah, go on.
But more,
it's lost cause. at this
more or
point.
less, I personally think you should watch this movie for entertainment value. But that's the reason why I watch movies, so that's the reason why I'm not critical. Now, I have another movie that's going to be popping up. Now, if Chad saw my list and everything, he might know what it is.
I didn't.
But
I
you
didn't
didn't?
either.
Okay. So I have another movie that's going to come up that might shock you guys as well. But again, entertainment is what I'm going for. So to me, I was fully entertained. The moment it came out, I absolutely bought it.
So you're okay with Shallow Story as long as you're entertained.
I-
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean,
No, that's fair. That's fair. Just
there's certain movies
Clarifying.
where it's like, okay, if you've ever seen the movie The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, great movie. Dramatic. I mean, it's basically 80s wrestler, highest point, and then, ends up in a van down by the river more or less, and he can't afford everything, but it's a dramatic movie. Is it great? Yes. Is it something I want to do every single day? No, Mike, I would be so anxious with life if that was the case. I'm not going to watch Titanic every day. Is it a great movie? Yeah, it's a great movie, but I'm not watching it every day. I just pointed out any movie. I'm just throwing it out there. But there's certain days where I just want to have an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of stupid little one-liners, fast-moving people, and maybe a few people are going to get shot by laser weapons, and maybe a lightsaber comes out. They don't, but it is what it is.
okay. All right. Well, are we to your second?
I guess so.
What do we got?
All right, so
Is this the other one of the toss-up?
yeah, at this point, since Deadpool took number one, Avengers Infinity War has to be number two at that point. So, I mean, if you've liked any of the Marvel MCU movies and you've watched the Avengers movies, this is the culmination, or at least the first half of the culmination, of everything that the MCU has been up to this point.
10 years.
Yeah, a long time and a lot of movies.
How many hours, by the way?
I think it's like 3.
No, not Infinity War. How many hours of movies that lead up to
Oh, Jesus.
Infinity War?
That's a good question.
Enough.
I can't remember how much it was, but somebody literally said, I think it takes 2 days or something, like if you sleep in between, like to actually watch all of the movies before Infinity War. But
And not that all of those movies, unfortunately, are worth watching. Some of them in there are okay for a first-time watch, but you're never going to watch some of them again because they're not all good. And I know there's going to be some people that are going to want my head because I said that. But I stand by that not every single one of them are great movies.
Thor 2.
Technically, Iron Man 2, Thor 2, most of the 2s, except for Captain America 2. That was really good. So, but for Infinity Wars, it was great. You got all of the major moments and everything that you were expecting. And for me, very few logical inconsistencies, very few WTF moments that draw you out of it and you go, that makes utterly no sense. That defies the laws of physics, nature, and everything, and why the hell are they doing this? Or the character wouldn't do this, that moment makes utterly no sense. Movies that do that, oh, God, I could rant on that.
Now we know why Chad doesn't watch as many movies as Jeremy.
He has to analyze each one. While he's
I can't help it.
That's okay, but that's okay.
I can't help it. And again, I could do that with a number of other movies. There's an entire different channel of groups that already do that at CinemaSins, and I love their stuff.
Are you just talking about bullets curving like in Wanted and stuff?
Okay, but Wanted, they did that. That was part of the actual mechanics and everything that they explained. They didn't explain. The beautiful thing on Wanted is they never explained how or why that does it.
It's just accept this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They throw it into some sort of special thing that they can do. Great. They don't over-explain it.
So you're saying everything in the movie actually is good with physics, or just the physics within the MCU as established?
The physics within the MCU.
Okay.
Because the other fact of the matter is, again, in the MCU, they don't over-explain it.
Right.
They don't tell you that they simply say Iron Man's armor in there is nanites. They don't go down to explain how the hell all the nanites from the armor are contained within the little thing on his chest.
Oh, go even further than that. Remember when Spider-Man and they, or in Civil War, they just basically, he starts asking all the questions about how do you climb the buildings? He's like, never mind. And then they just skip it. And
They did. Because
We've heard enough times.
as long as they don't explain it,
right. It doesn't matter.
then you can simply say, it's because of whatever reason. And that's fine. But once they explain something, and then you go,
people pick it apart.
well, wait a second, that doesn't work because of this and this and this. Don't over-explain it. Because if you over-explain it, you're going to screw it up and you're going to draw me out of the movie. Please, for the love of God, don't do it.
And hopefully that's something Kevin Feige, preached and kind of made an edict with the movies. And now that he's going over and doing X-Men, they're taking him off of MCU, and hopefully MCU stays together. But now he's going over to X-Men, maybe they'll do it over there and not get as nuanced as they did with Fox when Fox was running the show.
So Infinity Wars is my number 2. Now, that could change depending as to how, part 2 does. That could drop it in its rating if they I don't think they're going to, but if they botch part 2, it will completely destroy part 1. Because if part 2 sucks, then why bother watching part 1?
What about the Matrix movies? The part 1's great, and I don't think they made it 2 and 3.
They did.
No, they did not make it.
No, what he's saying is a lot like the season finale of Dexter. Don't watch it.
Yeah.
Make up something in your brain, and it will be infinitely
Dexter
better
was
than
only-
what it was.
Dexter was only
I
2 or 3
understand that.
seasons.
But the Matrix, the first one, doesn't really finish on a cliffhanger. You don't have to watch number 2 and number 3. Number 1's a complete story.
Yep.
Infinity War Part 1. Okay, let's face it. Unless you're okay with spoilers, if you're
just okay with this, right? That's all you got to do, Chad.
except I can't. Snap my
we
finger.
just said before we got you.
So if you're okay with the snap moment, then and that being the end of it, great. If you're not, and I imagine most of you are not, then you have to watch the next one.
If you are that individual, I want to hear a comment. I want to know why you're totally okay with that. Now, the reason why it's not on my top 5 list, and I love the movie, to me it's not complete. It's not, because it's part 1, and it's completely moving on to part 2. My issue with those movies and everything, and sometimes I don't even want to go see it because it's like, well, I know it's going to leave me on a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
I know, and I'm like, well, I want to go up to the point where I want to see it. I'm an MCU fan. I more heavily MCU than I am DC. Mm-hmm. So I really do invest my time, and that's the reason why I went and saw it. And plus, there was no way I was not seeing it. Like you said, 10 years, a culmination of 10 years.
And there's no way you're going to avoid spoilers for a year.
But no, you're absolutely right. And I believe you did look it up, by the way. 40 hours and 48 minutes.
That's including the movie. 38 hours to watch everything up to Infinity War.
I'm game. When are we doing a marathon?
But they called it Infinity Wars, so I don't know how. Don't quote us. But 38 hours to watch everything leading up to it. For almost 41 hours to watch. I don't know. That's a lot.
Absolutely is a lot. But I mean, I can see why it's in your top 5. The reason why it wasn't for me is because to me it's not finished. But I mean, hey, it's the reason why we all have different perspectives.
But The Last Jedi was left on a cliffhanger.
I swear,
so,
we don't have to bring it up again. We're gonna have another video just about
no, I'm saying
this.
you just said you don't like to watch movies that end on a cliffhanger, but whether you consider Force Awakens or the other one, to me, Last Jedi ended on more of a cliffhanger than Force Awakens did.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see what's gonna happen now. Like,
so did Empire.
But that was the second, in the series. Yeah, first one. You're right, because Star Wars ended. A New Hope ended as a bit, conclusion and
Yes.
award ceremony and everything. Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back, I think,
Spoilers.
is one of the best movies ever made. Do you know why, in one perspective, and this might be the wrong way to call it?
Because it's a series of down endings.
Well,
All Jedi had was a bunch of
the
Muppets.
bad guys won.
Someone's watched Clerks.
Yeah, somebody has watched Clerks. Bad guys won.
Yeah, it happens.
What movie? I always say, whenever I say that, I try to think about what other movie where the bad guys won. And then that was it. Like, okay, bad guys won. Like, people were. I mean, my dad was telling me, people were like, when you found out who Vader was. No spoilers.
No. Okay.
When you that changed people's lives a little bit. Like, people were so invested with that.
Well, it came out of nowhere. If you watch the first movie,
I don't disagree.
Darth Vader's just this guy there. He's not. They don't allude to anything in the first movie. And then the second movie all of a sudden just comes out and blindsides you.
I
That's
don't
why.
disagree,
There's
but
no
that's
build up to it,
That's the reason why I think that is one of the greatest movies, and it's not one of our topics. I just want to throw
You
it
didn't
out
see
there.
it last year for the first
I
time.
did not see it.
hopefully.
No.
Okay.
But I always thought, and if you do remember the G.I. Joe movie, the first one,
Yeah.
that movie would have been
Wait, the
infinitely.
animated
No,
Oh.
the real one with
With one of the Waynes in it?
no, yes,
Yes. Yeah.
and then who's the guy who was in Magic Mike?
Channing Tatum?
Thank you, that's him.
Wait, have you seen Magic Mike?
No.
Okay.
But that's good, Chad. No, that's exactly who I needed. Now, if that movie would have ended with Cobra winning instead of the second movie, I would have been like, oh, you guys took a play out of Empire Strike Back. That's perfect. Didn't end that way.
Yeah.
And
Well, and it should have. It was called The Rise of Cobra.
Thank
Cobra
you.
should have had a win.
thank you.
Well,
But
they were
and technically,
little.
he sort of did. But I think it could have ended a little bit.
It was a rise and fall of Cobra.
Yes,
It was too long of a name. They said
it
just cut a
set
couple
it up
words.
for number 2, but neither
Yeah.
that nor there, neither there or whatever I'm trying to say. Here, we can move on to number 3. I
Okay.
think. So.
All right. Well, mine aren't in any order, but just because I couldn't figure out how to rank these. But I have at number 3. I have Ant-Man and the Wasp. Did see it in theater. Actually saw it with you in theater.
Mhm.
I don't think.
I was there.
She was there.
Sorry.
I'm glad that was a memorable
I'm
moment.
completely forgettable.
That was when I met Chad for the first
Were you
time.
sitting next to each other?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Because I was sitting in between you
yeah.
and Renee.
Yeah.
I felt so important that day.
You did. That was the first time we hung out outside
was.
of other
It
things.
was.
Yeah. So, hey, great comedy. A little bit action, but more of a comedy is Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd as a superhero. I can't say no to that. I've loved the guy ever since Clueless. That's
Perfect
the first time I
Ant-Man
saw
though,
him.
like Perfect Ant-Man though. And
Oh, yeah.
Good call on the Clueless because I just watched that the other day because girlfriends love that kind of
You
stuff.
didn't know he was in it?
No, it's one of those movies where it's like I forgot that he was in it
Yeah.
because I associate him with
40-Year-Old
comedies,
Virgin.
40-Year-Old Virgin,
Yeah.
I Love You Man,
Yes.
Ant-Man, all of that stuff, and he is, I think, a hilarious
Oh, yeah.
actor. I think that he, like Ryan Reynolds, hits Deadpool pretty
Mm-hmm.
perfectly. I think he also embodies Ant-Man rather well. I think that's the one good thing about the MCU. They find people who embody
Yeah.
those superheroes, and I think it really does work out to their benefit. So,
And I don't
Well,
know.
particularly the Scott Lang
Yeah.
Ant-Man.
I was gonna say I don't know how he was.
yes,
in the
I should be
comics, though.
specific about that. Yes, Scott Lang, absolutely. Like that sarcastic, but like real. Like it's like, oh, that's a guy who I could hang out with, or
Sure.
I know him.
Yeah.
But like, I'm hanging out with like Captain America and everything. It's like, I gotta be prim and proper. I gotta be this. I gotta be that. Right? I mean,
Well, you
it's
can't
just
swear around him. 'Cause
no.
Well, what's
One of my favorite parts in that movie. One of my favorite parts in that movie. Somebody say language.
But with never mind.
Deal.
Oh, just
But I also don't mind, like I was saying, is Ant-Man and the Wasp like a 5-star out of 5-star world beater movie? No, but it's a good movie that fills in certain gaps. It's a good movie to just be entertained.
Well, I
by.
like that he's another flawed hero, and that's what the Marvel Universe is full of, and that's what I love about the
They're
Marvel
all
Universe
flawed.
versus DC.
Every one of them.
DC, they're Yeah, we'll go into that another maybe.
Well,
episode,
okay,
but-
we'll actually hit on that in a little bit.
Yeah.
So that
Oh, Suicide Squad.
spoiler for our.
Suicide Squad gonna be on
Yeah,
there?
oh yeah, trust me, we're gonna be good. We're gonna be good.
All
I
right,
promise.
yeah, go ahead, you're excited.
Okay, so
Third.
my third. Oh, this is actually. I know we've been talking comic books. Ocean's 8.
Ocean's 8?
Which I have not seen, and I love heist movies, and I've seen all the other Oceans. Italian Job, any of those, love them. I have not seen Ocean's 8. I want to.
Why do you like Ocean's movies? I know why, and I want to hear the reason why you do.
It's a great ensemble cast. They all just work and meld incredibly together. You have diverse personalities with their own individual quirks. And then they take this, in a lot of regards, this kind of ragtag bunch in a lot of ways, but
Very
all
much.
have very specialized skills, and they pull off these incredible, like almost ballet choreographed heists. And it's fun, it's exciting, and almost every single time in there's some twist because they've been showing you bits and pieces and things, and then the almost M. Night Shyamalan level twist or something happens, and you
Yep.
go, "Holy crap! They're
Right.
playing that the entire time."
You'd say like a Sixth Sense version of the M. Night Shyamalan twist, not the later ones.
M.
where
Night
it became
Shyamalan when he was
ridiculous.
good.
Yeah, when he was good.
True story. No, but okay, so that's the reason why I like Ocean's movies, because you're watching it, and you're going through, and you're like, I know something's going on. What is actually happening? Because what they show you isn't always what it's
Yeah.
more or less they're
No,
showing you it
that's
for a
true. That's
reason,
true.
and they got something behind the scenes, and that's why I absolutely love those movies. So I could even go back to Ocean's 11 and everything like that, where it's almost you have to watch it 2 or 3 times
Yes.
and really pick it apart because they say certain things, and I think I've seen those movies, Ocean's 11, at least 10 times. I would definitely watch it a few more because the vernacular they use, it's that old school kind of like Frank Sinatra, Las
But
Vegas.
that's exactly what they were going for.
Exactly. And I think that's the reason why Ocean's 8 was in my top because, again, was it George Clooney? No. I'm a George fan. I'm a Silver Fox just like he is.
What's up, Silver Fox?
I respect that, man. But Sandra Bullock could absolutely be George Clooney's, I think, sister in the movie. Like, and this isn't a spoiler, but I mean, you know this going into it because it's the first scene, but somebody asks, like, do you know if your brother's dead? No. Nonchalantly, just, we don't know. I mean, you see where his mausoleum is, but you don't know, and you're like, oh.
Well, and I've heard there's even a line in there or something. I hope you're not in there.
Oh.
Jim said it. That's it. He hadn't even seen the movie, but that's the reason why I love those movies. I love heists again, and that's a movie where it's not too deep because there's that comedic value behind it. And I can't remember the whole cast, but the whole cast overall. Rihanna's in that movie. I want to say the gal who's in Ghostbusters, the blonde. I can't remember. She's coming up in everything now. She's a comedian.
Yes.
I think she's in it. Don't quote us again. But I think if she's in there, I know I just saw her in another movie.
Anne Hathaway?
Katie something?
No, if
Oh,
you
yeah.
she's actually in another movie
I'll
with
check it
Mila
out.
Kunis, The Spy Who Dumped Me, I believe. I believe so. But regardless, I think just the ensemble, it's all individual characters, much like George Clooney had for his Ocean's movies. And then, again, it's just fun to see at the very end of what happened.
Kate McKinnon?
Kate McKinnon.
All right.
Well, I don't know if Kate McKinnon's in Ocean's 8. I
Okay.
believe she
I think
is,
she is,
but
yeah. I think
I
I've
could
heard
be
she is,
wrong.
yeah.
I could be wrong. But yeah, I think it's absolutely great. Chad, who's your third?
Well, actually, it was already discussed. It would be Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, cool.
As you can tell, I like my comic book movies. I like a lot of other movies as well, just there haven't been a lot of new movies that I've seen this last year. So, a lot of them were the Marvel movies. So, that's number 3. We've already talked about it.
Good
Let's
to
go
go.
to number 4.
All right, number 4. I do want to do a heist movie. What makes a good heist movie discussion sometime.
I'm with you.
That
I'm
would
with
be
you.
good.
I'm totally there.
That's what I don't
You-
watch
you-
a lot of heist movies, but you guys would be able to run the show.
Oh man, yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of research for
Yeah.
that one. I know Chad's gonna be watching
What
it
makes a
too.
good heist movie for you guys? That'd be a
know
good
a lot of
topic.
them already right to begin with.
Oh,
so
there we go.
yeah.
That'd be perfect.
Good to go.
All right, I have Coco on my list.
Ooh.
I don't think it came out in 2018. It was a little bit old at this point, but I had the Blu-ray sitting there, watched it one night, loved it. Musical animation. I think it's Pixar again. You know, not Disney. You know, Disney Pixar, whatever you want to call it. But
And you like
Coco.
your musicals.
I do
I do too.
like musicals, you know, but this one, I think it was art style that surprised me a bit because I watched Inside Out, which didn't have a lot of music stuff. This one had a lot of good music and just the art direction, the animation, everything about it just worked. The story was really good. I didn't predict where it was going, surprise me. I like when I can't see and figure out where it's going
Yes.
before it gets there. Where I'm like sitting there writing the movie as I'm watching it. I'd rather be writing it and then go, oh, I was wrong. So that's it for me, Coco.
I personally have never seen Coco. I'm not saying I wouldn't, and I believe again. Not that I'm a person for Netflix, but I also believe it is on there. If not, I know it's on streaming. I got so many streaming devices, which I'm sure you guys do too.
Yes.
I know it's on there. I have yet to see it, so I'm not gonna put my input on it. So
Well, with Disney coming out with that streaming service later, actually this year,
Yep.
those will all fade from Netflix eventually. I guarantee it.
sure, no doubt.
So.
I guess I'll go on to my fourth, where I think this is going to get a little controversial. Venom. I said it. It is what it is. If you saw it, you either liked it or you didn't like it.
You see it?
Did you either of you?
I did not see it. I have seen and heard enough about it that it's not on my list. It's something I will potentially watch at some point.
Yeah, I'm
But
okay to watch it.
given what I know that how they've altered stuff for the character,
That's the problem.
Yep. that would have some major negative marks.
But could
already
they could
written
they
in.
have done it like if you know the true origin of Venom in the comics? Let's just cover it. Spider-Man during Secret Wars finds his his
Symbiote.
outfit gets torn up on this other planet. He needs a new outfit. He finds this thing. It bonds to him and becomes his new outfit. It took the Sam Raimi ones 3 movies to get there, and it still came out of the blue, and you couldn't really swallow it because it just doesn't work in there.
Because
It just
they
doesn't
made
work.
the mistake in that one of doing what they did in so many other movies is let's
Too many villains.
So it's number 2. Let's have 2 villains. It's number 3. Let's have 3 villains. 3.
Yeah.
Sorry, wrong number of fingers there. So anyway, let's have 3 villains. You can't.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
But I don't know what the origins, and I want to go into it as blind as possible. And when I see it, I'll make my determination after that. Yeah, I do know the real origin, but if I can watch it and I still can, go, yeah, it works.
Well, I'll speak for my spirit, and I won't give you any spoilers. The reason why I actually really like the movie is, again, if you could not tell, I like just entertaining movies. That's what I like. The actor,
Is it Tom Hardy?
Wow.
Who's great. I know. I can't believe I forgot his name. Not that I think he embodies Eddie Brock like we've been talking about. I think he as a character is funny. I think when bad things happen to people, you can relate to a certain degree. And again, the origin is what's going to screw everybody over if you cling to the story and everything. I think they did as good a job as they possibly could, considering this is a Venom movie. And I know you don't normally have Venom without Spider-Man. They coincide typically. The movie as a whole is entertaining. It's got a bunch of good one-liners.
Is it Deadpool-esque or no?
I won't say it's as sarcastic.
I think like an anti-hero. He's more of an anti-hero.
He's absolutely an anti-hero. If you know what Venom does, he does what Venom does, and it explains certain things throughout. I know why people don't like it. I just think people are so... They're not going to make 1 million Venom movies. They might, but they're going to make one. I'm not saying I'm going to be like, oh, this is the movie, I'm going to die on this, this hill. But I think for what we have a Venom movie right now, right? Us as comic book fans...
As a one shot, can I ditch it and say different origins? That's fine. If this was done as part of the MCU and this was Venom's origins, rightly so, I think people would be furious because
I couldn't agree more.
Because there's taking that and separating it out as a character that should in theory show up in multiple movies and interact with those characters to remove Spider-Man from the origins. You don't do that. You don't completely alter that when it's a character that's going to... But if it's a one-off movie and it's never going to be interacting with any other cinematic universe or other movie continuities, fine, have that. Do an Elseworld concept, which is what I would have to take this as, given what I know for it.
I know, and you're absolutely not wrong. If it is a one-off, it's a one-off. I don't anticipate it being that way. I think it made enough money. I could be totally, absolutely wrong about it. Again, Venom, I think, is a worthwhile movie as long as you don't go into it expecting things. Like, I didn't go into expecting things. In fact, I heard it was a very bad movie. I decided to rent it one day. I rented it, and then, not that I looked at myself in the mirror, but I thought to myself, like, why did this movie get as much flack as it did? It is in no way, shape, or form the worst movie of the year.
I think I saw the worst movie of last year.
Okay, so again, if you're going into it a lot like Chad does with the physics behind stuff, and you really focus on that, you're gonna
I don't
hate
know
the
what
movie.
you're talking about, Slutty.
No, but you're gonna hate the movie. But if you go into it thinking, I just want to be entertained, I want to turn my brain off for an hour and a half, watch people beat each other up, and turn this guy into an even bigger guy, and watch him see what happens, I'm absolutely down. So that's the reason why.
I thought maybe it was a heist movie. That's maybe why you liked it so much, but is it? Oh, borderline heist movie?
Something is taken, but it's not a heist movie.
Heist is shit.
It's not a heist
Well,
movie.
I just want to note, Kevin Feige did come out and say, for now, there's no plan for Venom in the MCU.
That's what I figured.
So, I guess for now, it's not considered part of the MCU.
Which, I guess the other side of it is, if you take the movie as a movie and you just watch the movie and you don't know the background behind it, like Venom being owned by Fox and Sony and blah blah, just there's so many internal.
Sony.
Yes, is it Sony right
Yeah,
now?
Sony.
Okay. You only had so many characters. I mean, let's be honest. We just got Spider-Man in because they made the deal of a lifetime.
Right.
And
Well, they had to after Amazing Spider-Man 2 crashed and burned so
I
badly.
don't disagree,
And it was the smartest
but I
move
mean,
they made.
Spider-Man is super crucial in so many of the story points. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
especially with Tony Stark and what happens with the Registration Act, the whole thing. To not have Spider-Man there, I don't know how they would have done it. So, again,
But does all the MCU follow the comic origins like Thor? We never really got a true origin of Thor. He just, hey, I was born to Odin, and then, the first way we're introduced to him
Well,
is him
okay,
coming
so-
to Earth and getting exiled out of...
So for Thor, for the MCU Thor, they followed more of the Marvel Ultimate timeline
Okay,
for that,
yeah, okay.
which it wasn't an actual deity. It's a tech-based society. Now I read Thor back in the mid '80s, and that was when it was literally Valhalla god deity Thor. He was actual divinity. And that was during the Eric Masterson period where Thor was actually
Thunderstrike. Later became Thunderstrike.
later was Thunderstrike, but it was actually Thor at that point. But it was a human that actually had Mjolnir, and I was reading it during that time period. But even still, it was because they literally did have interactions with the actual gods of Norse mythology. But when you look at the MCU one, because we didn't have any sense of magic, divinity, mysticism, or anything until Doctor Strange. That unlocked the Pandora's box of mysticism in the MCU. But before that, they kept everything more grounded in reality. So the Thor that we got in the MCU is the ultimate universe one, which is a tech-based society. And to go back to the old quote, any significantly advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And that was the theory that they went on with that. So that super advanced technology comes off as looking godlike. And that's exactly what they did.
Okay. Great.
it's the reason why we have Chad on
Yeah.
this podcast. That's all I'm going to
We
say.
need this.
Yes.
This is like Wikipedia in a person.
Muy bueno. I had no idea about any
I am
of
a
that
font
stuff.
of useless knowledge.
But you know what? It's not useless anymore.
it's
We're
not.
throwing it right at
It's
you.
not. We're getting it out there.
Well,
All right.
then I guess we got to move on to Chad's number 4 then, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
All right, so my number 4 on here. It's actually going to be an anime movie. So it's Mary and the Witch's Flower. So now anyone who knows Studio Ghibli knows that when Hayao Miyazaki originally retired, and he has since come out of retirement again, and Studio Ghibli has reopened, but for a little while there, they actually closed down Studio Ghibli. And some of those people from Studio Ghibli left and formed their own studio. Which I can't remember the actual name of it. But their first movie they released here was Mary and the Witch's Flower. And I saw it here literally just about 2 weeks ago, right before New Year's. I watched it on Netflix, and it was good. I mean, it looks like a Studio Ghibli movie. It looks like Miyazaki. It feels like Miyazaki. It's not Miyazaki, though. There's some decided differences from it. But overall, it gives you a lot of those kind of the warm and fuzzies that most of those Miyazaki movies give you. I love Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away, Ponyo, Princess Mononoke. All those ones that almost in a lot of regards feel like kind of slice of life movies with a bit of more dramatic moments in them. Maria and the Witch's Flower was a bit more like a normal movie in the fact that it progressed and had a little bit more action sequences and consequences and stuff, but it wasn't anything earth-shattering. It still was something small and kind of contained and personal. But it had all of that visual and classic charm that you come to expect from a Miyazaki movie. Do I rank it up there with most of the other Miyazaki movies? I don't. It's just a little bit below that. But it is, if you love Studio Ghibli, if you love Miyazaki movies, see it.
It just has the feel.
God, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just pulled up an image of it, but it definitely has a look of it from what I've seen of Miyazaki stuff. So, all right, nice. That's a surprising one because I didn't know they reopened the studio.
They did. I had actually argued with someone on IGN. They're saying that because it had closed down, and they corrected me, and I went and looked it up, and I was overjoyed. I don't know what they're working on, but Studio Ghibli is back open, and Hayao Miyazaki is out of retirement. I hope the man works until the day he dies because I love his stuff. He is considered a living national treasure in Japan.
Well, he's the Disney of Japan, right?
Yes, and in some regards, he's the Japan that's owned by Disney because they bought all of his stuff. They have the right to everything that Studio Ghibli puts out to release it here in the U.S.
What doesn't Disney have?
Google.
Well, no, he's right, because Disney has gotten themselves into each genre. They got something over in the comic book world. They got something over in the animation world, anime world.
Yeah.
So they definitely put their tendrils into everything,
Oh yeah, no, they're one of the mega corporations that we should all fear. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem is they keep pumping out these damn movies that we love so much.
Yep,
So
Oh, I know they've got my money.
take my money.
Almost,
Here we go.
well, to go on to my fifth, almost my entire list is Disney owned in some way because I have The Incredibles 2, which I just saw a couple weeks ago. Finally saw the Blu-ray of it, and it held up with the first one very much so. I don't know. I know you haven't seen it yet.
Which one?
The second Incredibles movie.
I have not.
Incredibles 2.
I almost bought it last
Have you?
night at Target.
I actually have. This was when I went to Jamaica. I actually saw this on
Oh,
one of
good.
my plane trips.
Oh, that was a good plane trip then.
I thought it was a good movie. I thought it came 10 years too late, right? If I'm not mistaken.
It did kill me, but it picks up right where the first one leaves off, and that was perfect.
Absolutely. I think the movies, again, are very entertaining. It's superheroes, but it's something not necessarily hit on always.
Yeah.
And I guess it is, especially now with the current MCU. What happens when these superheroes destroy these buildings and everything? In the grand scheme of things, I think this is the one thing that, and this is, I think, probably the only thing Batman vs. Superman did well, it's, when Superman's going around knocking these buildings down, it affects everyday people. People
Yes.
will, and not that Incredibles 2, because it is a kid's movie, talks about people dying, but I think that is a portion where it's like, well, after these people, yes, they stop the bad guy, but look at all this stuff, the collateral damage. I thought it does a pretty good job, a different aspect of it.
Oh, yeah.
And let's be honest, we always wanted to see what happened to Jack, so.
Yeah. Well, it continues from the end of first one, and it covered pretty much most of the stuff I wanted it to cover, but I still hope they do a prequel at some point of how did, Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl get together. Because they never had covered that. My wife tells me I'm nuts and that it would be a complete mistake and we don't need to do that, but I think it's one of those few spots a prequel would be a good thing.
But there's things from the first one, we've talked about this, that there's questions. For instance, Elastigirl knows how to fly a jet. Mr. Incredible apparently, has pretty good stealth skills. Like spy level stealth skills, sneaking around and stuff. These are not just these are not just common people that threw on a costume. They have skills, serious skills.
Well, there's a line in the second one, and I can tell you where the context of it or anything, but Elastigirl says it. She goes, "There's a lot you don't know about me," to Mr. Incredible. To her husband.
Right.
She says, "There's a lot you don't know from before we got together," and it's like, okay, let's explore that later.
Right.
And Brad Bird wrote and directed this one just like he did the first one, so I would love to see them tackle that in some form. I don't know if they want to do a series, whatever. Just tell me that story though at some point because they keep alluding to it. They keep alluding. Yeah, don't wait
10 years. Yeah, that's all I mean. Just like Finding
Jeff T.
Nemo, the
Nelson
second
will
one.
probably be dead.
Not the coach. Not the coach.
He's getting up there.
I hear you, but not the coach.
Okay, so
come on.
First Incredibles was 2004. Okay, so yeah, it was
More than 10 years.
Yeah, it was more than 10 years.
14 years.
Don't do that to me again.
Yeah,
But,
no.
That's definitely my.
That's your
last,
fifth.
Last of my top 5. What do we got?
I don't think I have anything super controversial, actually. Well, I guess it all depends on your opinion, but this came out just the very last part of the year, Aquaman.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things outside of unlike Venom. Venom I've heard bad things.
Yep.
Aquaman, I've only heard good things.
So I went and saw it. Oh shucks, I want to say last week.
Yeah, it's on my list too.
I'm sorry to cut you, but absolutely, guys, go see it together if you
Okay.
have to. I think it's absolutely worthwhile. It's obviously it's not an origin. I'm not going to say it's an origin because I mean it does show you where Aquaman comes from, and
Like Thor, kind of like the first Thor a little bit, just kind of he's in a situation.
yes. My only thing is it was you didn't see Thor until Thor's movie came out, right? Like that
Right.
was it.
Right.
You might have heard little inklings of it and
It's all
everything,
Hammer.
but okay, yeah, you're absolutely right. But I mean, more or less, when it came to Aquaman, he's been in Batman vs Superman, I think, or a
And
little.
you saw him for like literally about a second on a screen, and that was it.
in the
Right.
very end, but he was in Justice League before.
And then he was in
Right.
Justice League, and so you know who he is. You're like, okay. And I think Jason Momoa, absolutely great actor for what this is. I think he's actually, I mean, Khal Drogo. I mean, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, I mean, he is, I think, an
Where are we
amazing
talking?
Dothraki.
Where
so.
are we talking though with this? Is this before Justice League or after Justice
This
League?
is after Justice
After,
League.
okay.
And my only one gripe with Aquaman is I believe they do make a few references now, unless I missed something, references to previous stuff that either came in the other movies or something I did not know of. Or maybe they re-hit it later in the movie, I just got past me again. I saw it only one time in theaters. I haven't had time to kind of, watch it again. Yeah, and kind of, that makes sense. I think if you're going for another entertaining movie, but it's entertaining to the point where it explains everything, and it's a long enough movie to the point where you do invest, but it's also short enough to the point where it's like, okay, finish this movie. Like, okay, I get it. Yep, you're hammering me with it. But I think overall, for explaining Aquaman, let's be honest, Aquaman gets made fun of the most.
Just talk to fish.
Like, he talks to fish, right? I mean, he's like that one G.I. Joe that's only built for snow. Like, there's a million other places there G.I. Joes go, but he's only for the snow.
Yes.
You can see why you would want Jason Momoa on your side,
Oh, yeah.
and it kind of explains everything. So again,
My
go
man.
see Aquaman, Jason Momoa, the man. That's it, Chad. Number 5. What do we got?
All right, so for my last one, I've got a dark comedy for you all. And it's a Ryan Reynolds movie as well. It is 2014 The Voices. For this particular movie, Ryan Reynolds basically plays a kind of a mentally ill guy who hears voices. His cat and his dog talk to him. His cat is basically the devil on his shoulder, and the dog is the angel. The cat's telling him to kill people. And during the course of the movie, he racks up quite a body count, actually. And it's a dark, dark comedy.
I gotta see this. Don't tell too much. I want to have it ruined. It sounds great,
but
though.
it's
I didn't know this
fantastic.
existed.
It's really fantastic.
Wow.
And I wound up watching it a bit of on a lark here in December, during some time off I had, and I watched it. And it is a hell of a lot of fun. And oddly, for as dark of a movie as it is, and this is not a movie, as you go through it, that it can end happily, they still managed to finish it off with an oddly upbeat moment, which a lot of dark comedies don't manage to pull off. And it's bizarre, but it still yet somehow works. And it's great. You can tell this was a movie that had to have been done on a small budget. There's only really 2 actors in here whose names you're going to know, Ryan Reynolds and Anna Kendrick.
Yep.
And they're both great in their roles. But, I mean, even the animals are actually voiced by, anytime an animal in the movie talks, it's voiced by Ryan Reynolds. So you have the cat, which sounds like him doing Antonio Banderas' Puss in Boots, is phenomenal. And then you have, his dog, which sounds like a slightly slow redneck dog, is also fantastic. And it's good. It's just good. But it's definitely a very, very dark comedy.
Oh yeah, I'm just looking at some stuff here about it. It was $11 million budget. It only pulled in like less than $500,000 in America. It initially released in Sweden. It's just
I had never heard of it.
I haven't either.
But it is streamable. I don't know where you can stream it, but I
Roku
did just see that.
right now.
Where was that?
Roku.
Okay.
If you have a Roku device
Yep.
or a Roku TV, and I do, I have a TCL Roku TV, and it came up on there and said, watch for free on the Roku channel, so I did.
Why not?
And it was really, really good.
Okay.
So we got to go with the stinker, right? Don't
Yeah.
want one apiece. I'm gonna
Yeah.
let you
All right.
rocket fire.
All right. I watched this one night. I hated it. I hate myself for having seen it. I hate it for having been made. I hate the people who made it. A Quiet Place. I had heard so much stuff about it that was so good. And
So
all this,
good.
and I saw it, and I hated every moment watching it. I was just sitting there questioning this world that they were trying to build and convince us that it could exist. It's beyond stupid. Do not waste your time with this movie. Please just. There is too many.
Man.
There's just too many things I could go into about a half an hour of just how this movie fails to be a good movie, and
Tell us how you really feel.
I love it. No.
Yeah.
CinemaSins already did it.
Um,
I've watched the CinemaSins on it, and
Yeah.
they completely destroyed the movie every step of the way. There's so many points in there where they say that they break their own rules time
Yes,
and time
yes.
again, and how can people possibly live like this? There's no way.
it's impossible. It's
live
impossible.
by a waterfall, right?
Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
why aren't the animals attracted to the waterfall?
Hey, you know what?
That's one of many. Yeah, there's it's amazing that got made, and it's amazing it got the praise it got because it is not great. It's like we wanted to pay people by the word. Maybe that was how they paid them. That's how they kept the budget low. I don't know. It just
John Krasinski's
Yeah,
a
go
smart
away.
man.
Go-
Smart man.
Yeah.
Look, I have people that tell
Yes,
me that
he's a
I
smart
could
man. He
enjoy
pulled-
if I could enjoy the movie
I get
if
that.
I don't think about it. I can't do that.
Oh, I know. Outside of taking a full, bottle of Tylenol, you wouldn't be able to shut your brain off enough to permit
Ouch.
that movie.
Ouch.
No more. Yeah, I can't. I'm done. I'm
Well,
just gonna get too violent.
I guess I'll go with mine, but mine isn't because I don't normally see bad movies by that. And by what I mean, if I'm streaming it, I'll turn it off. Like I just won't go through it to the point where I'll forget about it.
Right.
And I'm not going to go to the movies if I think it's not going to be a good movie. So I mean, that might sound dumb, but I don't normally go into
I agree.
Yeah.
bad movies. So this is just.
I didn't know.
I'm not gonna say this is the worst movie of 2018. This is the worst movie that I personally have seen. I hate using the word worst because I actually genuinely like these movies most of the time. Mission Impossible 6.
That's the one with Superman in it.
That's with Henry Cavill. You know more or less you know that the Mission Impossible team are like scalpels, and I think that's even said in the movie. They're the scalpel, and then you have the CIA, Henry Cavill. He's the hammer. And you totally see that in the first, and you have the action. I guess for me, I've seen so many Mission Impossible movies, and there was ones that were really good, certain ones that are not very good, and to me, this one it was an okay action movie. It was okay.
Well, they're number 6. I mean, how much
Yeah.
new stuff are you going to see? At this
And
point?
that's
Without rotating the full cast, I mean,
No, and
Tom
that's-
Cruise is still going. He's still living through all these. And if you
he
see,
broke his ankle in that one scene.
yes.
but just knowing there's a 6 means the first 5, you're not worried about him dying.
No,
Yeah.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But
Unless he's quadruple.
I guess you also have another spy
They can go
movie
the solid snake
series,
route, sure.
007.
clones. Sorry.
What was that?
I said unless they're clones,
Going
of
the
Tom
solid
Cruise
snake
style.
route.
Yeah. Oh. I know.
Okay.
Metal Gear. Gosh, I don't.
Yeah.
You could just go insane thinking about Metal Gear stuff. And the timeline there, but 007. They still, and I mean, more movies than Mission Impossible.
Sure.
I will line up. Now, maybe it's because it's almost they reinvent it every couple of years. Every time they got a
But
new
they did with the
Bond.
Daniel Craig ones. The Daniel Craig ones, Casino Royale is his first mission. And,
So good.
and Spectre is, well, before they said they were making another one, was his last mission because he retired. It was perfect. The entire thing of the Daniel Craig ones is from his very first mission, because in the very beginning of the first movie, he isn't even a 007 yet.
He doesn't even have the status.
It's his mission. You see, the very opening scene is his first mission that they give him to test him before they actually make him a 007. And that's just in the intro. And then through a couple of things through his career.
I have to watch it.
I wish they would stop and not make another one with him, because it's a perfect encapsulation.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
kind of got the bookends going?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The fact that they're making another one with him.
Yeah.
Don't unless you're gonna say that it's chronologically somewhere in between in there, which again that's sort of harder to do at that point because people aren't going to take it at that. But don't just do another new Bonds next.
Yeah.
One thing. Who's your next Bond? On canon. Nope. Just throw it out. Throw it out at me.
Does he
I
have to
have
be
no
British?
idea.
Does he have to be British?
I got mine and I'll throw it at you.
Okay.
Idris Elba.
And I've heard a lot of people throw that one out.
I've heard, as soon as I heard that, I was like, you know what? I will absolutely see him as 007.
Is that Black Panther?
No,
he was Heimdall in Thor.
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
with the orange eyes.
Yes, yeah, no, that'd be
The bridge keeper.
okay. That'd be good.
The only thing, of course,
I don't know
that
who
a
played
lot of
Black
people,
Panther. I feel
a lot of
bad.
people that have had problems with that, of course, is because of the fact that he's black.
Black.
Now, but the fact of the matter is, from what I
Daniel
understand,
Craig was blonde, and there was a big hissy about that.
I understand. But
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is, I believe if you go and actually look at the actual books, I don't believe the author ever specified James Bond's skin color, nationality, anything.
Listen, if my Doctor Who can be a woman, my 007 can be black. It is a new world. I am totally accepting of it, as long as they do it the right way.
Sure.
And again, some 007 movies, the James Bond movies, are and some are like, you did a good job.
When were the
And-
books written?
I don't know.
Oh wait, you could take a look on that, but yeah, I'm not sure. But you know what?
I want to say probably somewhere like in the 50s.
Since we went off on a tangent on my Mission Impossible 6, I'm gonna throw it back at Chad
Yeah.
for his stinker of the year.
Okay.
The Mortal Engines. For the love of God,
Oh,
do
is it
not,
that bad?
Do not see this movie. I went and saw it. I knew it was not great reviews going in, but the person I was going to go see it with said, "Hey, let's go see this." I said, "Okay, it's getting so-so reviews. How bad can it be?" I want my time and my money back.
No redeemable qualities, none.
No. Okay. So it's a beautiful movie.
Okay, because visually, I'm kind of like that Valerian movie. I just want to see it just to.
Yes, I'll admit. So I want what?
27% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
Is it
actually,
earned?
I think that's generous.
Oh shit!
The movie is a flaming dumpster pile.
Wow. Tell us how you really feel.
You're gonna have to bleep me.
Yeah, I was gonna say
No,
curse
no,
words,
no.
curse words.
When we're seeing our worst movies, obviously we have really strong feelings against these movies. Just
Yeah, visually, it's a beautiful movie, absolutely gorgeous. Anything that starts involving plot, character development, cohesion of threads, or just lack of dropped threads, it just all falls into a giant pile on the floor that somebody pees on and then lights on fire.
Well,
so go see it today.
yeah, and that was who directed? Peter Jackson.
Was it?
It was a Peter Jackson movie.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. I have not read...
Wait, Mortal Engines?
I have not
Yes.
read the books.
No, it was Chris. It wasn't. It was Christian Rivers.
But it's
No,
Peter... it's
produced
Peter
it.
Jackson's
Produced
involved
it.
with
Produced it.
Yes, he
Okay.
produced it.
Yeah,
So,
I knew
but
he was
he's involved with it.
His
I have
name's
not
on
read the books.
His
I
name.
actually want to read the books because I'm hoping that by reading the books, some of the things in the movie will actually make more sense to me. It still won't forgive what they did to that potentially for a good story, because I can see the bones of a good story in there. The book has to explain or deal with other different things that they just totally screwed up in the movie. They had to have screwed it up, because if they screwed it up that badly in the book, then someone needs to be hung for turning that book into a movie.
Well, so yeah, I'm glad we ended with you, Chad, because I did not feel that strongly towards Mission Impossible 6.
Yeah,
but
me and him were pretty almost devoid of violence about our movies, but you were just like, it didn't meet my expectations.
Yeah, but I was going to see that movie because
No.
visually it looked absolutely beautiful. But then again, it was a lot like that Valerian movie. I watched it and I was like, well, I'm never going to get this time back, but was it beautiful? Yeah, I'll deal with it. And if you know what I'm talking about, I can't remember the full name of it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Valerian and
Yeah.
the City of a Thousand Worlds,
That's what it is. Something like that.
which is based off of a comic or a graphic novel.
Graphic novel, which, I mean, great. Visually, it looked great. I'm glad I saw
Yes.
it for that aspect of it. So I guess the one redeeming quality for Mortal Engines is it looks pretty.
It is a
So-
beautiful movie.
Just put it on mute.
Like Jupiter Ascending.
Oh, that was another one. That was beautiful, beautiful
yeah.
looking movie. But falls apart in anything revolving a plot.
Well,
I
Those-
think
I mean,
that's good.
that's pretty much it right there. Those are our top 5 movies, along with our 1 stinker. This has been our second video.
Well,
Abs-
movies we saw in 2018 for the first time.
Exactly.
Yeah, if we're gonna do
exactly.
all time, it's gonna take me a lot longer.
Yeah, no, we don't got to worry about that. I'm gonna have a different list. Chad will definitely have a different
Oh
list.
God, yes.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us. This is Don't Quote Us. My name's Steve.
Jeremy,
And Chad.
Later.
thank you.